Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, welcome back to another episode of Books and Buds, where we discuss two of the greatest things on planet Earth, books and buds. Just had a trim party, and what we do is we trim our buds down, get all the sugar leaf off of there, but sometimes when you're doing that, you can accidentally knock a bud off, and that kind of stuff we can't sell to customers. It's falling on the floor, it doesn't cure properly because you can't hang it right. I suppose we could put like clothespins on it and hang it from the lines like that, but why bother? What we do is we roll it into joints, and I like to hide them around the house. I think it's a lot of fun. So check out this little clip of some of the shenanigans we get up to over here at Burning Bush. So this is one of my favorite places to hide it. Unfortunately, people are starting to expect it, but it's kind of funny. You have a guest over and you take a joint or some sour diesel, and you stick it right there. And they go to use the bathroom, and then they come out like, dudes, there was a joint behind the toilet paper, you know? And it just makes for a fun evening. It just makes things a little more interesting. So, kind of like hiding Easter eggs, you know? Every month it's Easter around here at Burning Bush. We just have a good time. Just want to share a little bit of our shenanigans with you, gang. So that's just a little idea of some of the fun we like to have around here. Can't always be work, you know? But right now it's work. I got to get into this video, everybody. But before I get into the book that I wrote, or the small little book that I renamed, basically, The Boy Who Cried Racist, I'd like to invite you to please consider subscribing to this channel, liking it, sharing this video with your friends. Get all the eyes on this you can, because we do a lot of good here for unknown writers. And the more eyes that are on these books, the more opportunities these writers have of actually making a career out of this. It's very tough out there. Very competitive industry. So please, once again, consider subscribing to the channel, liking it, sharing it with your friends, and comment below if you think that I'm kind of a nutbag and I should shut my mouth. Alright, so on to today's video, The Boy Who Cried Racist. Now, I'm talking about this one because, first of all, it's been getting kind of crazy over here with the George Floyd murder, and I call it a murder. There was no mistaking it, and I don't know anyone who disagrees with that assessment. That cop had his knee on the guy's neck. He was claiming he couldn't breathe. That should have been good enough. He had his hands clasped behind his back. What was the guy going to do? He was definitely not in any danger, this officer, but he killed him. Unfortunately, this was turned into a huge race issue, and it worries me. It worries me because variety is the spice of life, and I personally love having a lot of immigrants in America. I love not just people who are from other countries, their parents were from other countries, but they were born here, but bring a little bit of their family's history with them. I like people who come from other countries and actually bring that history with them personally. I've been all over this country. I've been to just about every single state. And I was doing so because I was a professional mover. And as a professional mover, I moved a lot of people that were from other countries. I moved people who were from Spain, people who were from Germany. I moved people who were from Mexico. I moved someone that was from, I can't remember which country in South America. I moved a gentleman who was from, his entire family was from India. And I thought they were incredibly fascinating because I packed an entire room. It was filled with religious stuff. It was their little chapel, for a lack of a better word. I don't know what they call it. But I was really curious about all the different gods. First of all, the religions I'm more familiar with, it's all the worshiping of one God. So I was just fascinated, and the family was delighted to share their religion with me, and I thought that was wonderful, you know. I like ethnic food. I like listening to different languages. So the reason I'm saying all this is because I don't want people to be afraid of moving to America. I don't want them to think that this is a huge racist country, which, you know, of course, wherever there's humans, there's going to be problems, and there is racism here. There's racism everywhere. It's undeniable. But as far as other countries go, and I've been to a fair amount of those too, I mean, there's not a lot of racism here. It's a very welcome and opening society. So some of the issues that I've noticed lately is Uncle Ben's rice, for example. I don't have a personal problem. I'm not black, so I can't say how it makes me feel as a black person. But as a white person, I see it as this man, I believe he was from the 1930s, was well known for making rice. So they put his face on the box because it was just kind of a way to just kind of a way to pay homage to them. That's just how I see it. Again, I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. If you're a black individual and that offends you, I'd like to know why. Another one is the Washington Redskins. Now, I went to a high school with an Indian mascot. It was the Tantascwa Warriors. Now, the reason my school chose the Tantascwa Warriors as their image was because they're paying homage to the wonderful tribes that surrounded us. I'm from Massachusetts, and we had tons of them. Nipmuc, Mohawk, Mohegan, just tons and tons of tribes. And they're just paying homage to the warriors that came before us. They fought diligently, and they just wanted to respect, I guess, the pioneers. My history is a little shaky on that one, but speaking to an actual Native American whose parents were Native American, and they just wanted to keep the lineage, he ended up breaking it. He married a woman of German background, but he was the kind of man to talk to, and he didn't have a problem with it. He went to that school, his kids went to that school, and he enjoyed it. He enjoyed that heritage. And there was a recent poll done, I forget which poll, but they determined that 90% of Americans don't have a problem with the name Washington Redskins. Now, of course, these polls, I'm a bit iffy on it because no one asked me my opinion. So my opinion and the opinion of just about everyone I know was not included in this poll. But I can tell you that myself and the Indian folks that I do happen to encounter don't have any problem with it. They see it as paying homage to. But on NPR, I did hear a nice argument that some interviewers did with they went to a reservation, asked them, and it was split more towards the middle, but it did lean towards the unoffended side. So the reason I bring this up is because I just don't want people to think that this is a racist country when it, for the most part, is very welcoming and loving. I'm a straight white guy, therefore I know a lot of straight white people. We don't have any racism in our bones. We weren't raised racist. Our parents weren't raised racist. We just like people. And so I did a little bit of research. In the last 20 years, 2 million black Nigerians have immigrated to this country. Also in that same time, 1 million black Caribbeans have immigrated here. And then a Pew research revealed to me that less than 1 million immigrants were living here from Latin America back in the 1960s. And now today, that's over 20 million people. So a lot of immigrants are immigrating here still. And I think it's because there's a lot of opportunity here that they might not be privileged to in their own countries. But if this country was so racist and so awful, I don't think that they would take the chance on coming here. Now, of course, a lot of people are going to tell you that they do have experience with racism. I've had experience with racism here in America. But, you know something? There's more good things, but we as human beings tend to put more focus on the negative than the positive, and that's unfortunate. It really is. So, without further ado, I'd like to get into my little revamp of The Boy Who Cried Wolf. It's titled The Boy Who Cried Racist. There once was a protester boy who was bored while having a conversation with a member of an opposing party. To amuse himself, he took a great breath and sang out, "Racist! Racist! There's a racist harassing me!" The villagers came running to help the boy drive the racist away, but when they arrived, they found no racist. They just found an individual with an opposing opinion trying to have an adult conversation about a very important topic. The boy laughed at them and said, "Anyone who disagrees with my opinion is a racist." "Don't cry racist, protester boy," said the villagers, "when there's no racist." They went grumbling back down the hill. Later, the boy sang out again, "Racist! Racist! The racist is back!" To his naughty delight, he watched the villagers run up the hill to help him drive the racist away. Again, when the villagers saw no racist, they sternly said, "Save your frightened song for when there is really something wrong. Don't cry racist when there is no racist." But the boy told them he knew better than them and watched them go grumbling down the hill once more. Later, he saw a real racist prowling about, who proudly waved Nazi flags and cheerfully cried for an end to all foreigners and gays. Alarmed, the protester boy leaped to his feet and sang out as loudly as he could, "Racist! Racist!" but the villagers thought he was trying to fool them again, and so they didn't come. At sunset, everyone wondered why the protester boy hadn't returned to the village. They went up the hill to find the boy, and they found him weeping. Oops. There really was a racist here, the protester boy said. The foreigners and gays have scattered, leaving the landscape barren and dull. I cried out, racist! Why didn't you come? An old man tried to comfort the protester boy as they walked back to the village. We'll help you look for the lost foreigners and gays in the morning, he said, putting his arm around the youth. But remember, nobody believes a liar, even when he is telling the truth. And the reason I used this story to help make my point is because I think a lot of people, now it's wonderful, anti-racism is a wonderful thing to be. Totally get it. I do get it. But I believe it's getting out of hand, and I believe people are actually searching for racism where it doesn't exist. And once you start doing that, you start to put fear in the minds of people who could be potential victims of a real crime. You're also making them victims because you're putting fear into their mind of something an imaginary boogeyman, so to speak. You're putting a monster under their bed or a monster in their closet that doesn't exist. There is racism. It does exist. But there's no need to make people fear coming here. And there's definitely no need to make the people who are already living here fearful. Not to mention, you're causing division amongst the people who already live here. White people and black people get along great. Hispanic people, Middle Eastern people who live here, and gay people and straight people get along great. Men and women get along great. Unfortunately, we just put way too much focus on the negative stories that we're hearing from the media all the time. But if you actually go out about in your regular day, you go to work, you go to the grocery store, you visit family and friends on weekends, you're not going to encounter much racism in this world. I'm sorry, but that's the truth of it. And that's the word we should be spreading to most Americans and most people around the world, is that message of hope, unity, and peace. We love each other more than we hate each other. And that's what I wanted to push in this video. So thank you very much for tuning in. You could have tuned into any book review channel on the internet. For some reason, you chose to tune into this one, and I appreciate the hell out of you for it. Once again, if you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm a knucklehead, please let me know in the comments. I love listening to opposing opinions because I'm a human being. I'm not right all the time. But I love every single one of you. Don't care what color you are. Don't care what gender you are. Don't care what religion you are. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.